Alright, so today we're going to be removing the rear door on this 2001 Ford F350. The reason we're removing it is for obvious cancer. The door is completely gone at the bottom here, so it's time. I found some pretty cheap doors. So anyway, first step is remove this little plastic piece right here. You can get a trim tool, just kind of pry up here. Comes out. There's a little push button on the connector. You just want to push that and pull out. Comes right off. In here there's one 8mm bolt, and in there we're going to pop off this little cover right here. Another 8mm bolt or a 5/16. Okay, so I don't know if you saw that, but typically they're an 8mm. So yours is most likely going to be an 8. For some reason, mine's a 7. I'm sure this thing has like 315,000 miles, so this is probably not the first time the door panel's been off. Alright, and then we just want to pry up on the door. Get your little trim panel or a flat blade screwdriver. Just pull up like that. And she's off of there. And this tells me right here somebody's been in here. Got painter's tape to hold up the weather mat. Go ahead and rip that off. Ford and all of their genius decided, hey, we're not going to make it to where you can just disconnect the door with the wiring harness. That'd be too smart. Let's make it hard. So you have to pull out all of the wiring, and it's kind of a booger, but yeah, you know, I didn't design it. I'm just using your trim tool here to pry off these little clips that hold onto the door wiring harness. So just kind of pry on each side of this connector. Pop those tabs off, slide right out. You got one connector right here on the door actuator you got to get off. Okay, so if you're doing this alone like me, it's not too terrible. I mean, you could roll the window down before you start and pick it up that way, but you know, if you want to save your back and you know, possibly the door if you need to keep it, use a cherry picker or engine hoist, whatever you want to call this thing. It works just like this. Just put a little strap around the door, have the cherry picker strapped to the top of the strap, and that seems to work for me. I've done this maybe 10 times, never had an issue, so it works pretty good. All right, so you want to take these two bolts right here loose. I believe they're a 10. Let me make sure here. I don't want to be a liar. Yep, they're a 10. Okay. So take off these two 10mm bolts, and then you're just going to have two 13mm bolts on each hinge. So kind of nice to have like a long wrench like this that you can just stick in here. Sorry, I'm doing this left-handed. And you got some, you know, leverage to pry. They're not super tight, but depending on who put them on last, or you know, if they've ever been off, they can get pretty rusted in there. So these seem to be pretty loose. Not too terrible. Just gonna bust all these loose. If you have like a super tight one, you know, you kind of want to go back and forth. That way you don't break it. Just kind of break some of that dirt and rust loose. And then you're able to just go ahead and crank them out of there. We got the old one off and ready to start setting up the new one on the little cherry picker. It's definitely a bigger job than I wanted to do on my day off, but hey, we're gonna get this done. Okay, here's my new door. It's rust free. Unfortunately, has a little bit of a dent. That happened when the salvage yard was removing it, so they cut me a discount on this one. So nothing I can't fix, but It was kind of aggravating when there was like 0 dents on it. All right, time to set our strap up on this new door. So same thing, once you got it all set up here, it's a lot better to do it this way. You can kind of maneuver it around whichever way you want, you know, and then you don't have to have a second pair of hands or struggle with one arm while you're trying to put the bolts in. I've done it that way and that sucks. So this is the best way I've found. You know, you might have a different tip or trick. Leave that in the comments and let me know, but this has been the best thing I've ever done so far. Okay, so once you go ahead and get all the bolts tight, you know, you got these 2 down here, these 2 up here, those 2 down there. Get your wiring harness fed through the door. Leave these a little bit loose, you know, not super tight, and then go ahead and close the door. And you're gonna wanna go ahead and see how your adjustment is. So, kind of checking all the seams here. We might have to bend the top a little bit. Probably need to come out a little bit at the bottom. So we're gonna try to pull this door a little bit and see if I can't get it perfect. You kind of just want to take your knee, push on it, and just kind of bend it a little bit each time. That's like a little closer. Might need a little bit more adjustment. All right, once you got everything all kind of lined up, make sure you check all your door jambs and everything. Make sure it latches good. I'm gonna leave my door panel off just so I can try to pound out that dent on the other side, see if I can get it pretty straight. But this is the part where you just, you know, put your door panel back on there, put those 2 bolts back in, and yeah, you're pretty much done. Hopefully this helps. I didn't really see any videos of people, you know, taking off the rear door. Saw tons of videos of people doing the front door. And, you know, there's probably not a lot of times that the rear door needs replaced, but if yours is like mine, it's all rusted out, or you got a huge dent or something crazy, you know, hopefully this will help you.